Hello, Facebook world. Just wanted to do a video. I have seen several videos posted so far, both kind of pro and con versus using your gun, using oils to clean your firearms. Everything I have read about these oils are phenomenal for cleaning purposes. I am going to go ahead and do this myself so that I have the information in my experience database that I can speak with validity when I talk about this to other people instead of using other people's videos and experience to use this. So what I have chosen to do, because of the videos I have watched before, is I have chosen that all of the polymer plastic parts of my firearm I'm going to clean with Thieves, because it does not have the same degradation value on the plastics that lemon supposedly does against polymers and plastics. All of the metal parts of my firearm are going to be cleaned with lemon because they really need scrubbed really deeply. So spent a day at the range today, well over 300 rounds put through my firearm. It is dirty. So we're going to start right now. I've already got the gun just a step or two beyond field disassembly. Took out the firing pin and everything. It's the first time I've done this with this weapon, disassembled it this far. So let's go ahead and start. And by no means am I a professional, so don't yell at me if I do something you don't like. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start with the Thieves, and this is going to be as simple as I can make it. I'm wanting to use just enough Thieves to get the end of the Q-tip wet, and all of the polymer parts of my gun that have nastiness on them, as you can see immediately, that's going to turn nasty. So what I'm doing is all of these polymer parts and all of the metal parts that are embedded in the polymer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rub Thieves oil on these. Okay, once I get to a point and I am not rubbing oil on anymore and all I'm doing is smearing dirt, I will go ahead and switch to the other side and reapply. But all of these parts have got gunpowder residue, honestly, from doing mag changes and everything, dropping them in the dirt. This gun is probably dirtier than it has ever been today. So I'm extremely dirty. Get a close up there of that one. So I'm going to switch over, use the other end of my Q-tip, and like I said, get the Thieves oil on it just enough. It's usually about 2 drops. About 2 drops. And again, we're just rubbing everything down. I'm going to coat everything liberally. Liberally, I'm cleaning a gun, that's funny. So I'm going to coat everything liberally in here with this oil. You have to, on this firearm, the trigger mechanism has a spring inside it that you can't reach with a Q-tip unless you pull the trigger back a little bit, and you can get that oil down on that spring and help get that cleaned out. So I've got the oil kind of rubbed around everywhere inside the mechanism of this firearm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my toothbrush, and if any of you know that have shot firearms, gunpowder residue and copper filings, everything gets all over your firearm from the feed ramp, and all of that. So I'm going to take, now that I have oil all over the action of this pistol, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and it's going to brush that oil and get into all of those little cracks and crevices, and it will actually help to spread the oil to the parts that you can't reach with the Q-tip. I'd love to be playing music or something for you, because I understand watching me scrub my firearm with a toothbrush is probably boring. But what we're doing is an experiment to make sure that this is going to work for future purposes. Okay. So as far as the action goes on this firearm, I've scrubbed everything down with Thieves oil. You can see the dirt and nastiness on that toothbrush. So what I'm going to do now is kind of a cleaning bath. I'm just going to take, now that I have the oil on it, and just take dry Q-tips and start rubbing on here. And it's cleaning off any excess oil. It's also cleaning out all of the dirt and gunk that's been left behind, that the Thieves oil has actually broken up and gotten off of the mechanism of the firearm. And I don't know if you know this or not, that you don't have smell-o-vision, but this is probably the best smelling way to clean a gun that I've ever had. Thieves has a distinctive cinnamon smell. It's out of this world, and my wife would not let me clean my gun at the kitchen table if I were not using essential oils. So I've gotten everything in here pretty close to dry. Gotten the Thieves oil off of most of it. And if I leave a little bit of Thieves oil, it's going to do nothing but help the firearm. Essential oils do not have the same properties as like the fruit juices. Like the lemon peel does not have the citric acid in it that the lemon juice does. So as far as being afraid of it corroding your metal or anything in your gun, it's not going to do that. All right, so we're going to give it one more swab here, make sure we've got all the gunk out of every little nook and cranny, since it was a long day at the range, and I'm still getting a lot of dirt coming up off of this. So I just want to make sure everything's cleaned up. Again, you pull that trigger back, you can see that spring open up, and you can actually get that Q-tip down around that spring. This is a Smith & Wesson M&P Performance Center Shield 9mm. I love shooting this firearm, and I carry it with me pretty much every day. So keeping it clean and in well-running condition is of utmost importance to me. Okay, so you can see I've gone through 3 Q-tips. They're very nasty dirty, and they're getting cleaner as we go, but I can still pick up some dirt. Without doing a full disassembly of all of your action and cleaning all of your parts, regardless of what cleaning product you use, you are not going to get all of the dirt out of your firearm. The good part about most firearms is they're designed to work around this, and all the parts that you can get to without a complete disassembly will keep your gun functioning properly. So this gun, for inside here, all of the moving parts, all of the accessible parts that I can clean have been cleaned to the point where there's very little residue or anything left on them that I could get off without disassembling them any further. So I can still stick this down in the nooks and the crannies of this firearm, and I can still pick up gunk and dirt. What I am picking up is old gun oil that I've used in the past. It's pulling it off of the metal surfaces, and it's actually doing a really good job of cleaning my firearm. I'm really happy with this, and again, it smells wonderful. So 4 Q-tips in, and I feel like this firearm is perfectly clean on the inside. All of the actionable parts will function properly, and that should be just fine. I'm going to set that to the side, and I'll do a general wipe down when I'm done with all of these parts before we put it back together. What I'm going to do now is, most of these parts are metal, and what I'm going to do is switch over to my lemon oil, because it has a different property for gunpowder residue and all that. And like I said, most of the videos don't want you using it on polymer plastic products, but they recommend it for any other surfaces. So I'm going to use the lemon oil on my metal surfaces, and we're going to see the difference between the Thieves and the lemon, which one works best, because there were some metal surfaces in the action. So lemon oil is a little bit thinner, so you have to be careful. It comes out faster. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start. This is just the retention for the barrel. And again, you should rub the oil on it. You're going to let it soak in for a very brief time. And I'm probably going to switch to my rag here, because it's a little easier than trying to get around these. But you can already see it's pulling off all of the gunk that's been on that from where it hasn't been cleaned after shooting 300 rounds through it today. This does have a really nice, with the oil sheen on the metal, it has a really nice shine to it. And it doesn't seem to have any type of corrosive effect on the metal that I have seen, or that I've sensed on here. So that's my first swab on this one. I'm going to go ahead and let that sit there with the oil on it. And we're going to get a little more oil here. Oh, I'm running low on my lemon here. Okay. So, and I'm going to go ahead and do the barrel. all of the parts that have any type of gun residue on them at all are going to get swabbed with this lemon oil. And again, this smells wonderful. I really like the Thieves smell, but when you follow the Thieves smell with the lemon oil smell, it's phenomenal. So I'm taking all of these parts, cleaning my feed ramp, and as you know, if you have shot for any length of time, the feed ramp gets the most metal filings and powder buildup on it than probably any other part of your firearm. I am not going to take the lemon oil all the way through the barrel, but I am going to take breech here and get the outside of it where there's primary powder burns. We'll get to the inside of the barrel here in a moment. All right, so I've wiped down the outside of the barrel there. Now this is a ported firearm, so it does have holes in the front of the barrel. And what I want to do is I'm going to get down in those holes to make sure that there's no powder buildup in those holes as well. Again, I'm going to go back to my toothbrush. Combining Thieves and lemon is not going to hurt anything or cause any reaction. So I'm going to just use this toothbrush to clean those holes out really good. All right, and then the end of the barrel, just give it a scrub. Okay, now this has been completely wiped down with lemon oil. Finished off with a little bit of Thieves. I'm going to give this a general wipe down because I don't want to leave the oil sitting on there completely, which with any oil that you're going to use on your gun, you do not want to completely soak it. You want it to treat your metal and then wipe it dry, especially if you're going to be carrying your firearm. You don't want any lint buildup, dirt buildup, anything like that to corrode and back up in your action. Okay, so I've gotten the outside of this wiped down. It's very smooth. It's very slick feeling with the lemon oil. And I'm going to make sure I dry this breech out really well so that I don't have the lemon oil just sitting in the breech. And so my barrel, I'm perfectly happy with the outside of that as of right now. I will get to the inside of that here in just a moment. The next thing I'm going to do is my guide rod and spring. These are a lot of times very difficult to get because of the way they're constructed now. It's not easy to remove these springs and take them apart. They're a double stacked spring. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and knock my trash cup over. Pick that up. Let's put these in here. We don't need to see all the dirty stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lemon oil and again, I'm going to soak my Q-tip and I'm going to rub the lemon oil as much as I can on top of these springs. Try not to get the Q-tip fuzzies down in there. Okay, so I've gotten lemon oil down on this. I still have a little bit of Thieves oil on this, so I'm going to brush in between these springs. And I'm going to do quarter turn, and I'm going to do this everywhere on this guide rod and spring. And this is a simple process. It's not hard. Don't be afraid of field stripping your firearm and cleaning it. So I said the Thieves smell good and I said the lemon smells good, but both of them together is an aroma to behold. It's really, really nice. I like it a lot. It's making me hungry. So again, we're just going to use the rag. We're going to dry that part off and we're good to go. She's clean and shiny. All right, let's go ahead, dry this one off. Make sure it's taken care of before we start on the slide. Okay, those parts are done. I do have one more spring part that I'm going to get to. There are some plastic parts in this that I want to kind of avoid the lemon on the plastic parts. Again, this is hearsay. I haven't gotten to experience this yet or not. So what I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm going to take my Thieves oil. I'm going to soak my Q-tip. And then I'm going to apply it everywhere I want to clean. And we're going to do the same thing on this spring and firing pin that we did on the guide rod spring. So I'm going to coat it with the oil. I'm going to take my toothbrush and I'm going to get down in that spring and kind of scrape out all I can. I'm really not worried about spatter with these oils. If I do get a little bit of overspray or something on the table, the oils are not going to hurt the table. They're actually going to benefit the wood. you're not going to have any problems with overspray and spatter. I recommend wiping it up because your wife will get upset if there's little black specks around the table from the gunpowder residue. Okay, so firing pin and spring are cleaned. That's immaculate. That is very, very shiny. They did an excellent job getting all of the gunpowder residue off of the firing pin. Okay, so we're going to set that aside for reassembly later and go ahead and move on to the slide. The side from your feed ramp, your slide, especially on a ported barrel, is going to ported gun, is going to build up the most residue. I'm going to do a very rough clean of this slide, and the rough clean is going to be with the Thieves and the toothbrush because I can get it kind of everywhere really quickly. So all I'm going to do is take a couple drops on the toothbrush, and we're going to scrub everywhere on this slide that we can reach with the brush. Again, I'm wanting to get into the frame rails, all of these little nooks and crannies, and that's where the toothbrush, if you have a firearms cleaning kit that has the smaller brushes in it, that's fantastic. You want to use softer brushes if possible. Stay away from the harder brushes that can actually scratch your metal or anything like that. Okay, so as I said, the ported barrel creates a lot more blowback inside the frame, and what I'm doing now is attending to the holes in the top of the frame of the slide with the oils. And every once in a while you just got to reapply and keep knocking them over. I'm good at that. Alright, so what I want to do is soak this gun down, get the oil everywhere, all of the nooks, crannies, crevices, because everywhere the oil touches is going to clean. Alright. So another key point that you want to do as far as your auto-loading pistols is you have a ejector right here that has a spring underneath it. I'm not going to take it out because it's not a part that you want to, that's easily taken out and put back in. But your ejector right here, you can press on the side of it and actually move it a little bit. What you want to do is get behind that ejector so that you're not getting any buildup on your ejector claw that grabs your rounds to eject your spent cases. So again, we're just getting the oil on every nook and cranny that we can on the firearm to start. Okay, making sure we get the frame rails everywhere that metal slides against metal. We don't want to have any buildup. Okay, going to do just a wipe down of what we've got now to get the bulk of any nastiness off, and then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the lemon oil and see if it pulls off any more than what the Thieves oil has. I'm also going to run the lemon oil through the firing pin hole in the gun just to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to block my firing pin from moving. As you can see, we're pulling off some nasty because all I've done is rub the oil on with the brush at this point. And again, I can't overstate how good this smells, and the fact that my hands aren't going to suffer. I'm not going to be getting any chemical constituents or anything like that on me that are harmful for my body or my kids. And again, I'm doing it on the kitchen table and my wife's not yelling at me. Okay, so in general, this slide is actually very, very clean just from rubbing the oil on and rubbing it off with a clean cloth. What we're going to do is there's a couple places that the brush didn't get to, and we also have the hole where the firing pin slides in. We're going to go ahead and grab our lemon oil again, and we're going to hit these little tough spots. So the little nooks and crannies right here around the barrel. Again, this is essential oil. I prefer Young Living essential oils due to their purity and quality standards. And so all of these little little nooks and crannies that I couldn't get with the brush, I can get with the Q-tip. And again, what I'm doing right now is just getting the oil where it needs to go. The oil itself will do the work for me, and I'll just wipe the oil off in a moment and it'll pull all the dirty, nasty stuff out. So I'm going to make one more application so that I'm not wiping that dirty stuff inside my firing pin, hole. So what I'm going to do, if I can get my oil to come out here. Come on. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take this right down and all the way up into the porthole where the firing pin actually comes out and strikes. And you can see it's also been really dirty down in there. God, it smells so good. Okay, now I do have quite a bit, and you can see how wet it is inside the barrel right now. I have quite a bit of lemon oil inside the barrel, and I'm trying to use that Q-tip to get into all of those nooks and crannies and corners of the firearm. Again, this is a ported firearm, so I'm going to try and get in each one of these ports just to make sure there's no residue, no buildup inside those ports, have the gun function properly throughout its service life. Lost the end of that one. Okay, so we have done, let me get the sight here real quick. This is a fiber optic sight. It does have plastic pins in it, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over just in case. I don't know if it will damage it or not, but I'm going to switch over to the Thieves oil again just to do the sights. Let me find my little exit hole here. All right, so I'm doing this right here around the sights. It's kind of a hard part to get on most guns, but I'm going to get that in there. Do the same thing with that front fiber optic sight. The cleaner that plastic is, the more light transmission is going to occur and the brighter your sights are going to be. So I've got that in there. I'm going to go ahead and use my brush again and get in those little nooks and crannies. All right, I'm messing up my workspace here. Okay, so from where I am now, I need to go ahead and all of these small places right here that I've run that brush, I want to take the Q-tip, get into all of these small places so that those plastics are really clean. Because I've been using the brush does still have some gunpowder residue and stuff like that in it, so you get a little bit of that on there, but the oil will actually help clean, and you can just wipe the gunk off when you do your final cleaning. All right, I'm really happy with how clean those got from using the Thieves. They're bright and shiny. So my fiber optic sights are now clean. I've cleaned them with Thieves. Now that I've done the lemon, I'm going to do a general wipe down also. And again, combining these oils using the same rag for both is not going to hurt anything. Essential oils actually have synergistic properties and work together really, really well. So the only thing I can do is clean better if I mix the two. So I'm getting into all of these small spots if I can. Again, I'm going to get all of the inside the holes, run a dry Q-tip through them, because you don't, regardless of whether you're using a store-bought gun oil or you're using essential oils, whatever you're using, you do not want residue to remain on your firearm if you're going to carry it on a daily basis. You want to, and it really depends on the firearm whether you can run it wet or dry as a carry arm, but if you're going to carry it on a daily basis, clean it often or run it a little drier. That way you don't get a lot of lint buildup. So we're going to pay just a special little attention here to the frame rails, and we're going to run the Q-tip up. You can hear how squeaky clean that is. We're going to run the Q-tip up the frame rails just so there's no liquid still in there. All right. So Frame rails are clean. I've got a little spot here that I couldn't get with the rag, so we're going to run that through there. And it has done a marvelous job cleaning this firearm. Everything is shiny. So I'm going to take my dry one. I'm going to run it down through there where I had the lemon oil, so that is nice and squeaky clean. And it looks fantastic. I don't have pay special attention. You don't want to get the little cotton burrs and everything from this to build up in there either. But this gun is very, very clean. The only thing that's on it is my fingerprints, where I've been manhandling it this whole time. Okay, so that is the general cleanup of the firearm. With my barrel, this is a very short barrel, and to clean the barrel, you could a lot of firearm manufacturers have a brush that you can clean the barrel with. I don't have my brush with me, but I do have a bore snake. I realize this is very long. This is a rifle bore snake. But just to get kind of the gunk out of the barrel, you can run your bore snake back and forth just like this for that portion. And it doesn't take a lot. And what we're going to do is we're going to run, because this stays in my bag. I'm going to put just a couple drops of Thieves oil right here on and I'm just going to let that coat the inside of the barrel, pull it through, and the barrel is shiny clean and brand new and smells wonderful. I can't tell you how good that smells. It's amazing. So our barrel is clean. We've run our bore snake through. Our barrel is dry. All of our parts are clean, they're dry, and we've used essential oils on all of this. I'm going to go ahead and reassemble it, and we'll see how the action works after reassembly. If you don't know how to break down your firearm, there are a plethora of videos online specifically for your firearm to be able to tell you how to do it. Okay, so my firing pin is back in place. Everything should be locked down tight there. All I have left to do is install my barrel, install my guide rod and springs, and my gun is clean. It works like a brand new one. If you're considering using essential oils, I see no reason not to use Thieves or lemon oil on your firearms. A lot of these polymers are a lot tougher than the plastics that the lemon oil would eat. Just be careful around your plastics with full strength lemon oil, just in case. The Thieves and the lemon oil, they smell fantastic. I don't have a chemical smell in my nose. I don't have any respiratory issues from breathing the chemicals. So this is experiment number one for me with firearms. If something changes or it is amiss with doing this with essential oils, I will post later as to the outcome. But thank you for watching me. Hope this gives you a better handle on different ways to use your essential oils.